Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today? Hey,
Uh,
welcome to another week of By Any Means TnT podcast. We are live with you today. Today is Thursday, February 10th, and we have some really special guests here today. We have Brooke and we have Donald, who has been working with By Any Means for a couple of years now, and so we decided today that we were going to have some open mic, open discussions today. It's been a heck of a couple weeks lately, and we all needed a break. And plus, people are getting ready for this weekend celebrations for those of you who are in love. So, welcome to the show. How's y'all week? Hey, Lulu, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Oh,
Hey, so y'all want to go ahead and let y'all uh let me go ahead and mute Donald. That's another Teresa over there, y'all. But Brooke, tell us about yourself and what's going on with you today.
I'm Brooke.
Hey,
I'm originally from Ohio.
hey,
Now I'm Mississippi, and I'm the president of the National Plus Coalition.
okay,
I got my partner in crime's here too, Lulu.
yeah. Hi,
yes.
Lulu.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. My name is Lulu. I am a member of the National Plus Coalition as the legislative coordinator, and I also work with a few other organizations, as well as I found my own organization, South Carolina for Restorative Justice.
Okay, thank you, Donald. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Donald, can we hear
I
you?
can't hear nothing.
There you go. Come on. Can you hear us now? You should be able to hear us now, Donald.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Remove
I
yourself,
can't hear
go
nothing.
out, and then come back in for me, okay? Hold up. Let me see. E. That better?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Well, we always say, I swear, it's never been a week where we didn't have any type of technical issues.
That's my word.
I swear for God. I swear for God. Hey Donald, if you can hear me, go out and come back in. I can't type to him. So we were just having this heavy discussion before I have to type it on my phone. Come back. There we go. We were having this heavy discussion about adult parole. I'm gonna wait until Donald comes back because he was really giving up some real gems about that.
Oh, okay.
Man, it was really deep. I was like, hold up, wait, stop right there, wait. So I want to wait until he come back, but I really want to what's been going on with y'all? What's been going on with Plus and what's been going on with reentry? There go Donald, y'all.
Yeah, I can hear y'all now.
Oh my God! Hey Donald,
Yeah.
Donald. If y'all don't
Hey, how
know, Donald
you?
is part of BAM. So, all right, D, get it. Hey, tell us who you are.
So I'm Donald, and I don't even know how to explain it. What am I explaining? Like
Just you,
I'm
Donald.
just a part. I'm a part of BAM, and I'm speaking on whatever y'all talking about today to help the situation.
Okay. So those don't know, Donald works on a lot of our in the background. He gives us a lot of golden nuggets, and so we were talking before we went live. We were having a whole discussion about adult parole, and one of the things that we were before we get into that, I want to find out what's going on with what is it, reentry? Oh, second chance with Lulu.
Oh, as far as the show, Second Chances. So, just this past Monday, we had a young man who was recently released on a PCR release
What's a
for
PCR?
wrongful post conviction release for a wrongful conviction. he'd actually been sentenced to 21 years and he'd served 10. And all of his paperwork that I have reviewed basically shows that he didn't commit the crime, and it wasn't even his stuff. But the funny part was in that particular episode, he talked about how his jury at his trial had the sheriff's wife on it, and it had a brother-in-law and or half brother or something like that, and they didn't even voluntarily remove themselves, and so there's just a lot of prosecutorial misconduct, and I think that highlighting the wrongful incarcerations all across this country will help us to push a narrative that they're not prepared for.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is because technically, they say that it's, I think Marvin said 5 to 10, but I heard an expert say just a couple of days ago it was about 15% of people inside of the prisons in the United States who are wrongfully incarcerated. And so 15% is a lot, you know what I'm saying?
A whole
So
lot.
to me, I think that if you look at it from that perspective and all of the people whose families are impacted, if we start to be able to highlight more wrongful incarceration stories, it creates an avenue where it says, now we have to consider violent offenders also, because majority of people who are wrongfully incarcerated are also violent offenders, right? And so, that's the reason why, you're trying to stack somebody with a charge of some kind. It's usually murder or something like that, right? So I think that by highlighting the wrongful convictions, it will create an avenue for the violent offenders who seem to continuously be excluded from any new legislation that they put out, as if because it's a violent offense, they can't be, they have to serve every single day of their time, when actuality, majority of Black men are incarcerated with violent offenses. So it may have had something to do with drugs, but it also includes some level of enhancement for a gun or, some type of victim in some way, shape, or form. So I think that for me and for just anyone else, I think it's important that we start to really focus on the wrongful convictions. And I think that I'm not the only person that thinks that, because I continue to see wrongful convictions popping up all over the place. Just like,
especially in Ohio, a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the story about the guy that served 44 years in Louisiana.
Yes.
And those twins, if you saw that interview, those twins, they basically, one of them was like, oh yeah, I'll take them down, I'm going to go there. And then the next lady is kind of like, oh no, I'm not going to do that again, because she knows basically that she lied. And, it's unfortunate that our families are not considered the same, and Marvin made it very plain and simple the other day. Marvin Cotton Jr., when he was on our show, he basically said it's just poor white people and Black and brown people who really are taking the brunt of what's happening in the system. And so, that's pretty much what we talked about this past Monday. And I know we just recorded with Shannon Ross and Aaron Smith. So I really look forward to seeing the next show on the 21st. So that's what's going on with Second Chances.
So that's every Monday.
Right? It's every other Monday. And it's actually just a 10-part series. So we're winding down into our last 3 episodes. So
that's amazing.
Until the next season, yeah.
Okay, make sure we put that information in the comments so people can find your show.
Okay.
Thank you. Brett?
I just wanted to add on to what she was saying too. With wrongful convictions, that is only the people that are actually innocent. You have people that are overly charged, dramatically overly charged. And don't even get me started on the on the trial penalty, where they stack charges on you just because you want to exercise your right for a jury trial.
Well, that's what happened to that guy. Yeah.
I mean, you heard our show, right? Monday and last Thursday, 228 years to 528 years, consecutive years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Frankie Porter out of Akron, Ohio. That is excessive. No one was hurt. No one was killed. 528 years.
Well, and in Louisiana, there is people serving life sentences under only having a 10 found guilty 10 people that found them guilty on their jury because
No,
they were a 10-2 state. Um, now the federal government has said it's unconstitutional, but it was not retroactive. So there is people still serving time, and was never fully convicted by a full, body of 12. And that's a
right. But
that is one thing
Wait a
we
minute,
are
wait a
fighting
minute.
for.
Hold up. Wait a minute. You saying there's people in Mississippi that's sitting in
No,
prison?
that's in
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Oh, in any state that have. Oh,
Yes, they only had to have 10 people on the jury to find them guilty for them to be convicted.
are you serious?
And yeah, I'm dead serious. That is actually something that we are fighting for with our advocacy team. Our advocacy team coordinator is Mary Matthews. And right now that is one of our new projects, is to try to get relief for these guys that are still in prison serving life sentences, and they were not convicted by a full 12-person jury. They were only convicted by 10, and the other two found them not guilty. Um, one of them was actually a clear-cut case of self-defense, and he took it all the way up to the federal courts, and they sent it back down. But basically, they lowered his charge from murder to manslaughter, but he's still serving all this time. And it goes into like parole, like what you were saying, because now, yeah, they might have an eligibility for parole, but now you're looking at the parole when you're getting out. First off, do you get even paroled? And then when you do get paroled, how long are you on parole?
What do you think
I don't
about?
know if you've seen my podcast with Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair was serving a life sentence in Louisiana. He got paroled. He is now like, I don't know his age, but he's been out since 2007, and he was in prison for 40 years before that. So he's an elderly man, and he's still on parole. He will be on parole until
Right.
2055.
Jesus, that's what I'm.
Yeah, so and that's the thing too. People really don't know how parole doesn't work, right? So they have no idea that like even in Mississippi, if you get paroled and you don't have a reentry house or a family member willing to take you, they make you stay in prison.
Wow. We
Yeah,
Or
definitely
there's
have
so
some folks that can
out for
attest to
you.
that. Donald could talk
uh,
about that. He's an expert in that area.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of everything that both of y'all were saying. Like, y'all got some great points. Like everything that y'all saying is actually the truth. And what's going on right now is like my mother and people that was before, a lot of people haven't never been to jail, so they never understood it, and they didn't never know that they was actually doing us wrong or what was going on in prison. So now that everybody's involved in it and they finding out that it's just a terrible system, this is what's going on right now, which is like you said, they're illuminating the facts of it's no good. And they've been getting over for years, like with the jury thing she was talking about in Louisiana, the innocent people alone. Like they got a book actually about it. It's called Unjust. It's written by ex prosecutor, which is the leader of the Ohio Innocence Project, but he got a book out, and he's talking about how he used to be a prosecutor and he's trying to get people home, and those prosecutors are fighting to the death, even when they see the facts that that person is innocent, to keep him in.
yeah,
like
because it's
like
all about
it's
the wins.
yeah, it's all about the wins. It's all about the conviction. As long as they put a face on the conviction, it doesn't matter. So this is what they've been doing. But like y'all said, like just fighting to try to relieve a lot of people is the that's the objective, which is everybody's trying to fight to get a lot of people home. But a lot of the ways have to change, which is they're willing to give you a couple people before you break their system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they rather give you a couple people. Like, what do you want? Like once y'all get deep into this and everybody's real, and the ball get to rolling, they rather pull y'all to the side and what do y'all want? Who do y'all want out? And leave it at that. But
That sounds bad.
changing the whole system is something they gonna fight about, which is like it's very serious because it's so much money involved in it. there's so many people's hands involved in it that's tied into it. Like people rather invest in a jail because they feel like everybody's going to jail, like everybody just choosing jail. That's not what's going on. What's going on is y'all convicting people of innocent people on top of convicting people of something that you probably could have helped them. It's supposed to be rehabilitation. Ain't nobody getting rehabilitated, and
Well,
it's no good.
you can't rehabilitate someone that's never been rehabilitated. You know.
Exactly. When he go into a place like what Brooke was telling, they don't even have programs. So how is he getting
Right.
rehabilitated if there ain't no programs?
I agree. I
Well,
totally
There's
agree
no
with that.
way. There's no
you
way
know, a
that you
lot
can
of
help
it
somebody.
also
I hear you.
a lot of it also comes back to the police. Like they got the
Mhm.
broken what is it called? The broken window policing system where they're taking minor crimes and they're adding on charges and just sticking them in prison. And then you
Mhm.
got the juvenile offenses. But
Mhm.
nobody focuses on the school to prison pipeline or generational trauma that is
Yeah.
caught being a
Mhm.
mass contributor to mass incarceration. Even
Ooh,
when you're in
facts.
prison, the type of mental health services that you receive it's a joke, and then they make it
Facts.
so hard to receive mental health services for the youth. There in
Mhm.
Mississippi, there's no resources, but then you're
Mhm.
shocked that these kids are going out here and shooting each other, but you got parents
Mhm.
that are non-existent that ain't around to help.
Hey,
and
how are you?
and then even when they want to help their kids, there's no services.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I
What
agree.
what
I totally agree with that. But
what
also,
she just said
we
was.
just had someone get out. We just had someone get out. Who was one of a part of our team. Her daughter, she was in prison because of drugs. Like drugs,
Mhm.
prison is not the place to be if you have an addiction to anything. You need to go into some
Thank
type
you.
of treatment center. But they're sending people to prison for that. Donna.
Well, yeah, and so I think, I mean, my thought on that, and I'll say this, they were very difficult they were very tough on crime, as they say, for the crack era. And now that we are seeing a lot of people addicted to opioids and meth and things like that, and I don't know about in Ohio or in Mississippi, but when I drive down the street where I live in North Carolina or even in South Carolina, I see people who don't look like me, and so um, the difference is changing, right? And so they're acknowledging now that people who are addicted to drugs shouldn't be in prisons, but it didn't matter before when it was black and brown folks addicted to crack. I've talked with people who are serving. I talked with this man 2 weeks ago. He's serving 42 years for 19 grams of crack, and that's probably the equivalent of one of those popsicles, not the twin pops but the single pop. And so 42 years is excessive. And so when you start thinking about the reason why they're looking to pass bills like the Equal Act on a federal level, that's to change the disparity. But we have to make sure that we remind them that majority of black men are in prison with a violent offense.
Yes.
So whether
Mhm.
it has been made to be a felony, like a violent offense, like with drugs, or if there's actually some type of violence with it. So the thing that the thing that has to happen in order for any of this to change, because Donald is right, because I see this all the time, and I can speak a little bit more freely because we're over here in Ohio, and I don't have the South Carolina Department of Corrections watching this, because they absolutely come at my throat for every little thing that they see on our show. Oh, Lulu, I thought we were good. No, I'm helping y'all work through y'all problems, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I want these laws changed. I want some people free.
Yes.
I'm not getting ready
Facts.
to
Demands.
yeah, I'm not getting, but the Department of Corrections can't make it, right? So what Donald said was exactly right. Like there's so much corruption. So what I have learned in trying to put together legislation, trying to make amendments on legislation, keep this. So it's like in the state of South Carolina, they accepted $400 million for the opioid crisis. You want to know
Mhm.
why? Because that's the only way that that bill is going to get passed. Now, there will be a bill passed that removes mandatory minimums for those people that have drug offenses, and that'll happen this year in the state of South Carolina. And what people have to realize is they have to pay attention to how the money is moving, because they're not making any changes without the money move. I've talked to legislators and they're like, I'm like, hey, I put this legislation together. Do you think you can submit it for us? Oh, these people want the blood of your firstborn in order to go ahead and submit legislation to make any amendments. And so, what I have been doing, and again, I'm so thankful for platforms like the National Plus Coalition because I have been able to, put out on the platform and share it to legislators every single time I have a show, so they get an episode that says misconduct, and we're checking for specific prosecutors, specific judges, specific sheriffs, specific people. You putting people on notice. I'm
Yeah.
not getting ready to go away until these laws are changed. And what has happened more frequently is that, especially in the state of South Carolina, the people who are in positions to kind of make moves and make stuff happen, they do just what Donald said: pull you to the side. What can we give you? Who is it that you're fighting for in here? Because because I know what women I'm up against in South Carolina, I have definitely had to go and partner with, Families Against Mandatory Minimums, Dream Court Justice, Reform Alliance, so that when they see, they don't think that I'm somebody that they can just send some boys out at night to come get. They know
Right.
that there are other people checking for me. And that's just the truth and reality about this walk and this work. Like every day, I'm like, okay,
Woo.
do I move into South Carolina or do I just stay kind of on the edge?
What, what
Because I'm scared, you know?
facts? And what you just said is what I just was explaining to her. At one point in time, a lot of people was like the Klan, and I'm gonna speak on this, and I'm speaking about this because everybody thought the Klan was against blacks, and it's not against blacks. It's the fact that you would never run anything, you would never be powerful, you would never do what you wanted to do. So when you try to do that, that's when we come. So a lot of people not understanding, like, heads gonna roll behind this. Now, what y'all doing is getting everybody involved, which is the power is in the people. But the
Mm-hmm.
people got to understand what you want, what's the demand, which is a lot of people ain't willing to put their life on the line. So a lot of people duck or whatever the case is, or they be like, I ain't getting into that. That's what's been going on. But at the end of the day, it's got to be everybody. It can't be like when
Yeah.
you get everybody involved, no matter what color, what everything. This is when everything gets changed, which is the system is broken for sure.
Yeah.
Like everything that you're talking about is really the truth of what's going on, but to change it is going to be it's going to take more than one person. Like it's going
I
to take a lot of organizations. It's going to take a lot of fight, and like they gonna do what they want to do, but what we doing like in Ohio, everybody's fighting, but it's all part of it's like left wing, right wing, it's all part of the same bird, which is every different state got its different laws, different things they got going on, but it's all part of the same thing. You know what I mean? Like we all fighting for change, and you have to put them on the wall about what they're doing, and what we're doing right now is that. Like the world is able to see that, which is thank God for social media. But what Brooke was saying, which is mental health. Mental health is the biggest. That's the number one. That's the public enemy number one, which
It
is a lot
is.
of
It
people
really
are
is.
not. That's the biggest thing that's really going on, which is a lot of people aren't mentally ready for that. Which is I just left, and it was more crazy people in prison than people that actually had some sense. So y'all took the nut houses away and made everybody. It made it into a crazy house,
Yeah.
and
That,
this is what's going on. So how are you able to lock somebody up that wasn't actually there or understood what he was doing?
Right.
You know what I
but
mean?
I mean,
So that's
how they lock them up. They
that's
understand
what's going
the numbers equal dollars.
Ooh,
right. Numbers
it
equal
is.
dollars, and
Yeah,
that's
it
what's
is.
going on
It's all
in
about
every state. Every state, that's what's going on, which is numbers equal dollars. And no matter who we lock up or what the crime was, and we can enhance the crime, we're gonna get them even bigger. We're gonna get them for longer time. But like I told Bam, I was basically like, no one, they ain't doing it if they ain't making no money behind it. It's just not gonna happen. They ain't locking you up for fun, and they ain't locking you up to help nobody because at the end of the day, it's about money.
You're right, but I
Like
think that we have had several examples of how our power works, right? You know, we've seen what Stacey Abrams and all of them were able to do in Georgia.
Yeah.
We've seen what these truck drivers were able to do over in Denver and across the country. My point is
Oh, just what they're doing right now in Canada. They've
Yes.
shut Canada completely down right now.
yeah.
mm-hmm.
So the problem in the United States though is every man for himself. You
Mm-hmm.
have this is a huge problem, right? And I can tell you that I have a lot of followers, but I can post anything about prison and I won't even get a single like about it or anything. But I
Yes.
know you watching though, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
so that's the thing. Like I know you're watching and it bothers me that it's not a problem until you're calling me about your son or your
Mm-hmm.
daughter or your
Say
sister
less.
or your brother. And now all of a sudden you have all of this empathy and understanding. But the hard part for me to digest is that it's my own people who are the ones that I have to fight against. I
Yes.
don't have a problem rallying up a million white people to help me fight against the unjust system. I just don't. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? And I think that you'll see that all across the system. You have more white people fighting for black people than there are black people. And my biggest argument is I'm always at odds with the black man about the war that there is on black men right now.
Yes.
Like, do you not realize there is a war on us? Let's give you an example, right? If we would have just not watched two NFL games when they started picking on Colin Kaepernick, not the whole season, but just two Sundays, and just really let them know who we were.
Yep.
Because you can't even have the game of football without black men. But you know who I came up against adversity with? Not nobody else. Not none of my elders. Not none of that. It was these young black men. They wasn't gonna give up their Steelers. They wasn't gonna give up their weekend with their homeboys. They wasn't gonna give up their gambling, the extra gambling money. And so nothing comes without sacrifice. You will get absolutely nothing.
Facts.
And so
Facts.
all I say, and I'm constantly at odds. And so then when everything hit the fan, you know, I'm going back and forth with people during Colin Kaepernick. I ain't watched the football since Colin Kaepernick. And I was a crazy football fan. Like literally got left in the stadium because I was on a date with some guy who was about the Falcons and he had the audacity to take me to a Packers game. I'm from Wisconsin. So the Falcons started losing. Falcons start losing. He's ready to go. I'm like, okay, you good. I'll see you. That's why I drove my car here. I knew what was going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm going to go down, sit over there with them people with that green on. They going to sit me down and ain't going to be no problems because all y'all leaving, right? So all I'm saying is we need our black men to basically start to stand up. I mean,
Facts.
it's women. Every time I turn around and look at what's going
Facts.
on, who's doing this
Facts.
work, it's all the women. It's all the
Facts.
women.
Let me jump in there.
What?
Let me jump in there before you say something, Donald. I just
Woo.
want to piggyback off of what Lulu said because I know what he about to say.
Woo.
Let me just say
Woo.
this.
She going in, but she telling the truth.
She's telling
She's
the
telling the honest God truth.
100% truth. And that is what we have learned since we started with BAM and other organizations. But a good friend of mine constantly says this. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to. There are enough organizations and advocates and revolutionaries out here that's doing exactly what we need them to do. All we have to do is pick up the ball and collaborate with them, work with them instead of having to recreate from the beginning. But people don't want to work together, whether it be male or female. It doesn't matter. They don't because they want to be at the top.
Oh
You know,
yes.
but
What?
who cares about that when your purpose is helping people? Who cares
Yeah,
about fame? Who cares about the clout, as someone always says? When your when your purpose is about helping people, I don't care. We don't care about that. You know, we
listen.
do so much stuff that we don't is nowhere near the internet because we
Well,
don't we'll put it
I'm
on.
so I'm so glad y'all don't because that is the one reason why we never get ahead is because somebody is always fighting to be the king mofo at the top. so
Right.
that people can see them in the light. If people knew how much work Brooke puts in, it is
Yes. A
exhausting,
lot. A
right?
whole
She
lot.
never is seen. Nobody ever talks about it.
Yep.
Nobody ever knows. I mean, she's behind the scenes. She's standing over a patient, flipping over through the screen, doing what she has to do. Listen, hats off to you, Brooke, for
Yeah.
real. But
Lulu.
I don't see many people willing to put in the work to do what it takes. I do see people taking a picture. I do see people acting like they are the leader, the head of this, that, and the third, the next coming of Jesus Christ, or whatever you believe, the nephew to the Prophet Muhammad, whoever you want it to be. But at the end of the day, people show themselves all the time.
Yeah, they
If
do.
it's really about the
You
work, you wouldn't
you
mind
are going in.
being on
You
top
are
of it.
You telling
you
the truth.
tapping in. You tapping into so much right now. Like you are telling the truth, and the main thing is, good news travels slow, bad news travel fast, and people don't want to get a part into something that they're scared. A lot of people are shook. A lot of people don't really want to get a part of something that they don't understand, or it's just the way that you actually come to people and explain the things. Like some analogies might help people. Like one finger might be enough, but a fist can do way more. So strength is in numbers. A lot of people really don't understand a lot of things, but they will in due time. Like a lot of people are followers too. If
Mm.
you don't watch the world, they follow. So if they follow people, if you get them rolling, as in your set of people get bigger than what they thought you was gonna get, they gonna get on the ball. Like it's a fight, but it's something that it goes back into mental health. Like a lot of people mentally are messed up, so they can't just fix something or they don't know how. So a lot of people are scared of change. So when they're scared of change, they sit and be in comfort, and that's what makes them comfortable to be whoever they want to be. But you got a lot of people that's selfish, and that's what that is, and that's how they pick off people, which is divide and conquer. So if you divide and conquer, and everybody is like this, that's how that goes. And then, like you said with the women, like women are they're the strongest piece on the chessboard for a reason. The fact of the matter is, a lot of people don't
Women protect
understand
the
that.
king. Hey, I'm
You
a chess
know,
player.
yeah, but the king is
King
who you're protecting,
protects the
but
king.
the queen can do anything.
Oh,
Is what I'm saying.
absolutely. We good.
So she's the strong. She's the strong. When a person lose their queen, they be upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even want to play no more. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is, if you don't understand how to use it, it's just like your left and your right hand. Some people might not like to use their left hand because they right-handed, but they go together. It's in
Yeah.
sync. It's like good and bad. You got to understand how to control it. But you got so many people that think that they're whatever that they think. Like that's the problem. But you have to get it to them in a way that they understand it. A lot of people don't understand the language that you're talking. They ain't got to that point in their life where they ain't tired, sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Because I know
So
when we first started, we didn't understand either. We were like a deer in headlights when we got
for
started.
sure.
All we knew is that our family was behind bars, and COVID hit,
Hmm.
and it was about to go down.
Yes, I
Right.
was about to
You
flip
see,
the prison
Flip
upside
the
down.
person upside down.
everybody
Let
everybody
my
keeps
people
showing me
go down.
Yes.
everybody keeps showing me this Biden. He done signed a $30 million deal to give
Yep.
out crack pipes.
Yep.
I said, what type of
Okay,
shit
so
is he trying to
they
pay back
they
for?
have
Is he trying to
stopped
pay back?
that. They did stop. I'm glad you brought up what they're doing because they did put a stop to that because that has came out and people were having a fit about it. But if you guys are not looking at the Build Back America bill, they are wanting to give money to the IRS for 80,000 new agents. According to
Right.
um according to the government, they're saying that the it is for agents to look at the rich people and audit them. But the IRS has already stated these 80,000 new
Yeah.
agents are going to auditing the middle class and the poor people. So
First
what
of
they're going to
all,
do is they're going to mess us up again. And
yes.
why are we spending all this money for new IRS agents? When you don't even get me started on inflation rates. And guess what's going to happen with inflation rates? You're going to also have a rise in crime because people can't afford to feed their babies.
Oh yeah.
And
Right,
this
because I'm
country
about to go out to the corner and steal something myself because it's so high. What happened? It's like 6 months,
yes.
8 months, and life is completely different. because you gave out a couple stimulus checks.
If it's
Come get this money, okay?
it's high on inside the prisons too, by the way. And places
Yes,
get inside the walls as well. Like my
yes.
loved ones, like they said they used to be able to purchase certain things for $2, $3. Now it's like $6. I'm like, what? Wait, what? A bottle,
Well,
a case of water is now what, $3, $4 plus?
now, now I don't know if
Well,
y'all know anything about Marcus Garvey or anything, but he spoke
Absolutely.
about this 100 years ago, and they was giving out, I guess, some money back in World War One. It's a sandal.
Yeah,
In World War One, he was giving out that America was giving out money, and he was trying to tell people quit spending that money because they're gonna want it back.
yeah,
And that's what's going on. All that money they just gave out, they want it back.
yeah.
They
Well,
ain't
I
Because
didn't
the
even.
playing.
purpose of giving it.
They was giving it out, but they made it look like they was giving somebody something. That's just as well as like you can't give somebody something that he don't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
because he ain't gonna do nothing but blow it. So you got to work on the mental health of people. So if you don't work on the health of people
Lulu.
and show people how to get do things that they supposed to do, that's back to what Brooke was saying in the Mississippi prison. If they don't have no programs that show people how to be a better person, how is he gonna be a better person? He don't know
Yeah.
how. That's
well,
why
I
he
want
in
to
jail.
piggyback off that when you're done.
You good?
Because this is Lulu already knows this is my topic right here. Mental health and then dealing with the youth. My whole thing is this. Again, I take it back to generational trauma. If we have programs in place for the youth to help them, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's never gonna happen. The government is never gonna do it because it's gonna stop kids from feeding into the system of going into prison.
We got to
If
stop saying
stop
never, Brooke. We got to stop saying never.
well, no, because I'm
Make
gonna tell
it
you
happen.
another. I'm gonna tell you another solution. The solution is us as a people
Yes.
have got to come together, and we got to help our youth.
Yes.
We got to come together
Right.
and initiate
Exactly.
programs to help our youth. If we have to
Facts.
fund nonprofits to get mental health services
Facts.
in communities, in the lower
Facts.
income communities, that's what we
Big
need to do.
facts.
I didn't know you was like
Big
mental
facts.
health because you know our show on March 10th is all about mental health.
That's the biggest
Yes,
thing
and
because
now me with mental health is not mental health. Again, it all to me it always goes back to the youth. But I want to mention this about mental health with prison. I worked at a prison for 12 weeks. Okay,
Which one did you work at?
I worked at Parchman. I worked at Parchman in
uh,
Mississippi, and when you walk into the prison, if you going and visiting is one thing. When you work there and you see the true what it's like, you hear how loud it is. You're smelling the smells where they don't have proper plumbing. You're seeing the food and you're literally hearing this loud noise nonstop. Imagine going in with no mental illness. By the time you come out, you're
you
going
will have one. Facts.
you're going
Big,
to
you going crazy. I'm trying to tell you,
yes.
prison would make you man. That's why when people come out, they be like, "You acting like you was." Listen, you don't even understand. That place is chaos at its finest. You put 250 people with one microwave or that's chaos. That is chaos. You are creating. So you have to figure out how to calm down if you got some sense. If not, you're gonna be fighting and doing the most because they don't understand. Like they doing that on purpose, which is creating chaos. You're not coming out no better because
You're being
a
treated like
lot of yeah, you're getting treated like animals, and it's just it's bad. Like where I just left, man, they got new COs. These kids are probably born in '99 and 2000. I'm like, this is crazy. I was like, jail has turned. I was like, oh my god. I had to talk with one of them. I was like, you didn't even give yourself a fair shot to even go try to be something else. Like you kind of signed up for some money, not even understanding you in prison too. You've been in here 12 hours. You was in prison. You ate out of the microwave like we ate out of the microwave. You in jail. The only thing you got is
Yes.
you get to come home. But
Yeah.
it's not a good thing, which is people aren't choosing to be a CO coming out of high school. This their last resort.
Yeah.
But they doing this as in job security, like probation, parole. There's so many people getting paid behind it. There's so much money involved in it. Like when it comes to the money that they get from the grants of the state, and they got to spend that money, and a lot of it goes to people's pockets, and
Listen, listen.
it's a sad
This is
thing. But like y'all was talking about the halfway houses or the for people that's on drugs. Now the people on drugs, a person that's on drugs, their first resort ain't to use drugs. Their first resort is to fix the problem. But when you can't get no help, you go back to what you're comfortable doing. So the mental health is the everything, which is if somebody has somebody to talk to, they might be able to get up out of that situation. A lot of people don't have nothing to go home or to talk to. So they end up in the same situation. But the mental health is the biggest thing because if you help them with their mental health, they might be able to get overcome that other situation.
But mental health
Yes.
is a taboo also. Nobody wants to admit they have, a mental health issue. No one wants to admit that they have depression.
Well,
Oh,
And then you
I
got
admit it.
people telling you there's nothing wrong with you. Just keep it moving. Get over
Pray
it.
about it. Pray about it.
exactly. Ex-
Well, that's what
So,
they always say, pray
Exactly.
about it. But I mean, it's gonna take a lot more than
Yeah.
some prayer when it comes to mental health. Believe that. And
What?
just on the strength of as a veteran and being subjected to so many different things and witnessing so many things, and then coming home, a lot of people. And I don't know if you guys know, but the state of Ohio has a whole um, portion for veterans who are actually in prison behind bars, and they try to deal with those type of situations because it all starts right here in the mind.
Yeah.
Almost everything else, but in the black community, it's a stigma to say, I need help. It's a stigma to say I'm depressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Our families, our children,
Mm-hmm.
our cousins, our uncles, our mothers, our fathers, and they talk about you like a dog,
mhm.
you
Yep.
know, or people will act like everything is fine, but walk around hurting. I mean, we just had a beautiful, beautiful, what was she, Miss America, commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no.
But
I got
but
my own opinion about that.
that
I'm not kill yourself, but that's another story. And
that's all of that mental health, which is
yeah,
like
it's
I
all mental
said,
health.
people are having a real live problem coping with America, which is America was designed off of hatred.
COVID
You
took it to
know, like a lot of y'all women are able to fight a little different. Not only are y'all strong, but y'all able to fight a little different because y'all had a fight, which was to be in America. Like for them to have to sign an amendment, women's suffrage was serious, which is that means y'all been getting fucked around.
and
Excuse
still
my
are,
language, but
and still are.
and
We
this is
just
what
had a
I'm
shift about
so
women in prisons. Yeah, still are.
but that makes y'all stronger because y'all already been fighting and y'all already been sticking together. But once again, this is how they designed America. That's why they got so many people that's casted out due to hatred, from the women to the gays to the blacks to the felons. It's just terrible, and that's what America is actually designed off, which is hate. And in order to fix it, you have to fix it with love. Like I'm
Say
pushing
that,
for
Donald.
huh?
Say that, Donald.
I'm pushing for love because at the end of the day, that's the only way you can fix hatred is love. So a lot of people are just got a lot of hate in their system, and a lot of people turn into the person that they were getting picked on or what hated or didn't like, I should say. Like a lot of people, most people that was abused become the abuser. A lot of people that was a lot of things happen to them, they become that person, and that's due to mental health again, which is they never fix the problem. So in
True.
order to fix it, you got to tap into the mental health, But the prison system alone, in order to fix it, is you got to make these people demand and fix their ways. You got to vote the people out. You got to figure out who the top of the chain, and you start picking at this piece by piece. Piece by piece, what you want to get out of it right then and there, and then you pick at something else. You know, but
Johnny Roscoe
So, but
said a lot of people don't have access to medical insurance to seek mental health.
that's true. And even if they have access, it's the high copay for the specialist. So, and counseling and psychotherapy, where you can get some meds if you flipping out a little bit. That's a whole different ball of wax. But what people don't realize is that all of this strives from these constitutional laws that they created, right? So, all of this greed and all of this mass incarceration stems from the 13th Amendment.
Yes.
Okay, we abolished slavery. You can no
Yes.
longer be owned by people, but now you can be owned by the government, and we can transport you into oh, you don't have, then they have black codes, and you don't have papers that say you working. Oh, we gonna put you in prison.
Yeah.
And you can bring your family until they get to a certain age, and then I'm gonna sell them to this company over there, because we had to continue to further the economics of the United States of America. And so we have got to admit the places and where we were wrong in order for us to fix it, right? And as far as the prisons, I'm not trying to fix a prison. I am absolutely not trying to fix a prison, because I cannot fix a prison until you let some people go. The
Right.
Right.
prisons are overrun, and they are holding on by a little button, the little tiniest button on your little J.C. Penney shirt that you out the plastic back in the day. They used to have a whole shelf, and they tell you the
Oh
different
my God.
sizes.
Yes.
Yes, it's holding on by a little button, because you put all of these people inside of these prisons, and you cannot manage them, because now nobody really wants to work inside of the prison. I know, especially in South Carolina, you might have 3 people, 2 people manning a whole yard. Seriously? I see Mika is on here, and I know she talks about that in one of these documentaries, how she was left to handle so many people. And the thing is, and I tell the Department of Corrections this all the time, I'm not trying to tell you that you're awful. Yes, Donald.
Is he?
I
What?
think Donald noise.
Yeah, the noise.
Um,
Oh,
I'm not trying to tell you that you're awful. I'm just trying to tell you that you can't help me. What I need is legislative changes, and we need to have a sweeping understanding all across this country. Listen, we focus on these wrongful convictions. Not only will the people who are wrongfully incarcerated, who probably have natural life sentences or life sentences, find a way out, it will also allow people who have violent offenses to find a way out. They keep passing a law for the drug offenses, so y'all gonna be okay, unfortunately. And then you look at it from the perspective of, I tell them all the time, if you had good time inside of these institutions, you would have incentive for people to change the mindset that put them into prison, right? But then if you want to utilize good time, because when people are going up for parole, they're barely getting 5 minutes for review.
Right.
So if you only get 5 minutes to look at me and tell me who I am, how do you do that, right? If a
Right.
person was incarcerated for 24 years and they had truly walked a path of redemption, regardless of if they committed murder or whatever it was, but they were still eligible for parole, you could take a look at their sheet and say, oh, well, this person has done some amazing things, and they have become a redeemed person, and they are ready to re-enter into society, instead of just allowing people to go up and say that they're eligible for parole and continue to deny them based on seriousness of the crime.
But
And
that happens in Ohio a lot. You know
that
that.
happens all across the country. The only place that they stopped doing that was in California. But the
Yeah,
thing is that there needs to be a national parole criteria.
I agree.
Like, assumed parole based upon the time that you enter into prison. You understand that at X, Y, and Z, after you've served a certain specific amount of your sentence, you will be assumed parole based upon meeting such criteria. Because now the way that it works, heck, if the parole board in South Carolina has a bad drive-in for work, they're not going to let anybody free. Oh, you cut me off in the parking lot. Forget these people today. My
Amen.
wife ticked me off before I got here. And then also, we need to make sure that the people on the parole boards have knowledge of prison. I
Yes,
don't care about you having a pastor and the first lady of this sitting on the board. They don't know anything about what prison looks like. They don't know or understand the mental health components of people who are incarcerated. You don't know what a path of redemption looks like. How can you say whether or not a person is ready or not to be released?
I agree. And then
And
we have
this
people.
is
Ohio has 4 different sentencing laws and release
Um,
laws as well. Yeah, 4. So you'll hear us say it all the time: old law versus new law. So our old law people who are, it's a little bit over 4,000 that's still left, that's sitting in prison, based upon exactly what Lulu just said. The parole board, and I've actually spoken with the parole board personally, and they'll say, no, we follow, this guideline or that guideline. No, you don't. No, you don't, because we know for sure that if you're having a bad day, someone is going to go into a parole hearing and they're going to be denied.
Start having these people send you their denials.
I agree.
Start having
I
these people send you
personally,
denials.
Yes.
and then start putting them up. If you got people who are in prison with no disciplinary infractions, they've been taking all this programming, doing all of these things. I'm telling you, this is my plan. Let me show you, because at the end of the day, if everyday people knew that the system was broken to the fact that it was, I'm talking about if they knew that people were being fed slop every day, if they knew that there were no programs in place, and they knew that their tax dollars were going into keeping people in here wrongfully or rightfully, whatever it may be, if
Yeah.
they understood this, if they saw the denials and the reasons why the denials,
Right.
if they
Girl,
understood some of the sentences, they wouldn't want people in
Bro,
they
like,
don't care. They don't care. And I'm not saying that being a Debbie Downer. I'm saying that coming from the other side. I was them. I lived in the suburbs. I
Listen,
was
I was them too before I met my husband, before I,
they don't care.
reconnected.
They don't care
Listen,
what they say. The biggest thing they like to say, you do the crime, you do the time. Uh, they say stuff all the time. They're like, "Oh, you robbed a bank, cut their hands off." This is the America we live in. That is truly how people feel. They might not say it around mixed company or someone they don't know, but I promise you, when you get into upper middle class America, all these white supremacists and effers, that's how they feel.
well,
The way that we get them to change their mind is we have to change the narrative to something that is going to impact them. That
it's
is the way
impacting them
we have
right
to
now. The
do it.
opioids,
yeah,
that particular group of people. I'm talking about my good people down the street at the church that they just don't understand what's going on, because anytime you mention prison to anyone, it's like, oh my God, are you talking about prison to me? Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. Did you know that I had to spend the last 3 weeks calling because people are not even getting a shower,
yes,
but once every week and a half? Now,
yes,
oh my, I can't even think about not washing for a whole
yes,
week and a half. You know what I
right,
mean? And so that's what I say, we really focus on humanizing the incarcerated. If you knew the details. I'm not talking about these white supremacists, because they crazy and they doing their own thing. And
You
I don't believe that I'm mixed, so I don't believe that every single white person is racist. But at the end of the day, I do know that people have no idea what's going on. And just like, it's always said, people believe the justice system is supposed to be upholding the law. And when they find out it's running just like a welfare mama be trying to make sure that all her kids can eat off of one pack of noodles, that's like, whoa. And you
yeah,
saw this. The world knows this now because COVID hit. They have been talking about this thing for months, right? COVID hit, and in 2 weeks, the whole dang old country fell apart.
girl, yes.
So I
It's
think
still
that
apart, and
we
it's
just we just have to do a better job at pulling on people's heartstrings, right? It's
agree.
not like, hey, I got a murderer and I want him to be free. It's like, hey, I have a young man who's been incarcerated since he was 18 years old. He's now 42. Even the family of his victim wants him to be released, but the way that the laws are set up, it doesn't work that way. And he's done all of these amazing things. And it's like, wow, really? People have no idea. Even people who have family members who are incarcerated, they have no idea. And so, how we change the narrative is to continue to have the conversations that humanize the
Yes.
incarcerated population.
Well, Tamara, you might be able to help me on this on her name. I can't think of her name. Lulu, we actually had a former parole board member speak out
Shirley
yep,
Johnson.
against the Ohio parole board.
Yep.
It
She
did
did.
nothing.
Now, let me
It
just say this in all fairness. I have to be fair. Y'all know me. I like to be fair. So they have definitely, I don't know what's going on. They've definitely let some folks out lately, and haven't judged them based upon their past. Now, they're still flapping, but they've definitely, some people that we thought would never get out, or they're out. They're getting out. And
that's a win.
that's a win, and we take wins as much as we take losses. And so that means that they're having conversations with the community. However, and that's what we didn't get a chance to talk about, is they've created a whole new division in the state of Ohio sanctions parole violations and put them now are in Lorraine correctional institution. So if you have a PV, you're going straight to prison. There's no, there's no, we're going to be in the county anymore. There's no, you're going straight to prison and they'll figure it out there. It's crazy what they're
Do
doing
they
to our
still
people.
are they? Do they still have the violent offender registry list?
Yes. And actually, I literally just found out about that personally a couple months ago. One of our guests for next week is he's not going to talk about it, but he's the one to let me know about it. We had no clue. They have a registry for violent offenders, like
Like
sexual.
sex offenders.
I'm
Yep.
like, shut the front door. Are you serious? Anything to keep us, our people down. Mass incarceration, 13th Amendment, slavery. I mean, but we run out of time. We can go on forever and ever. I love this. I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming on the show. I'm gonna put some last minutes in. Do y'all have any last things to say? Thoughts, comments? Brooke?
I just
What?
I want to say something real quick before Lulu goes because she
Okay.
didn't mention it, and Lulu puts in so much work and has been busting her butt on this. Lulu, make sure you mention Day of Empathy, what you are doing, please. Oh, and if you don't know what the National Plus Coalition is, please look us up. Our grassroots page
You
is the
talk
National
about
Plus
it, right? You talk about it. You supposed to.
Coalition. And then our podcast is Plus Media and Productions. But no, Day of Empathy is not a Plus thing. That is a Lulu thing with her organization, and I'm so proud of her. And I want her to make sure she tells you all about it.
Okay.
Well, I this is my first on it.
You going out, Don? We can't hear
I
you.
did say it. Who is it? My that damn.
All right, go ahead, Lulu.
So Day of Empathy, because I work with Dream Court Justice, I'm hosting a Day of Empathy in the state of South Carolina.
Hello.
And so I'm
Hello.
looking to have some legislators actually lock up. And for those who are bold, I mean, it could be just two, three, one, I'm also looking to have legislators meet with currently incarcerated people. And then instead of setting it up like a rally or a big function, it'll just be like a virtual event. But then there will be satellite locations where people inside of the Department of Corrections, they've agreed to host a site for them and their people and specific advocates that they already work with. And then there'll be locations in Charleston and also in the upstate. But overall, just having people from the inside speak about something that they want the world to know, not necessarily their story, hearing from victims
Hello.
Hold
and
on, hold on,
victims
hold
who
on, Donald.
want to be a part of the solution. There are a lot of people that reach out to me for victim offender dialogues, and it's because they need healing. That person's prison time doesn't heal the pain that they have from whatever happened with their loved one, and so I have people reaching out to me, and they also want to be a part of the solution. So then you have the family members who will discuss what it's like for them to um, have a family member incarcerated, but then kind of wrapping it together with a documentary about prison culture or, a documentary that's happened inside of the prison. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot of work in all of this for all of us to chew on. There's so much that we shouldn't be competing with each other, only complementing
Thank
the
you.
works and efforts of those of us who are working to change the narrative.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Do y'all hear that? Make sure you put that in the comments too before we close out. Thank you. Any emails, any phone numbers that you want to put them in the comments before we close out. Thank you. So I appreciate all of y'all coming on. I don't know what happened to Donald. I think he might have been cutting hair. So, he was doing.
Is that what that sound was? That
It
makes
sounded
sense.
like, it sounded like he was doing something. But Teresa couldn't be with us today because she always busy. And we missed her very much. I missed her very much. But you guys were awesome co-hosts. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Excellent
Thanks.
guest. I appreciate all
Thank
the
you for having us.
information. So I try to put out Bam's information before, at the end of our podcast, only because um we had stopped doing this, but we're gonna go back to it. So next week we're gonna be honoring some community leaders on the 17th. And when we say community leaders, most of the leaders that we are honoring have been to prison, so they re-entered society, and they are leaders in the community. And we have some major people coming on our podcast next week, and we're really excited about that. As an advocate, we've been honored, but I don't care about being honored. God is honoring me on a daily basis. Every time I wake up, I got fresh air and food in my fridge. I'm good. So it's about helping them, and just knowing that they could have went a totally different way, but they decided to come out and continue to fight, and that's a blessing. So that's the 17th. On the 24th, it's going to be called Women Leading the Way. And so that's really about women leading the way, you know, out in the community. And so I'm looking at two of them right now, but we also have another one that's coming on on the 24th. Marie is also going to be on our show on the 24th, and she's really dynamic. She is where Bam really learned how to do what we're doing right now, through No Static Radio, Voice of the Revolution. And we really want to honor her. We always like to give back. And not only because it's Black History Month, because, I'm Black 365 days of the year. So, and I like to say that it's actually my tagline. And Teresa would come over here and say, "No, we white," and we can say that too because our mothers is white. But that's a whole nother discussion for people to get pissed about. But okay,
Don't call my kids white. My kids will fight you.
look, right? That's a whole other discussion. I promise you, we gonna talk about that one day. The third, I'm really excited for the 3rd of March because we're gonna talk about child support. We actually have possibly, we're waiting to see if it'll get approved, someone coming in from child support to do a myth and fact conversation and kind of debunk some of the myths out here about child support. Child support affects all of us, and when you start talking about that topic, people be getting pissed. And so we really want to have a honest conversation, but also understand that people who are behind bars, they get charged child support as well. So we want to have that conversation. And
Well, is that always?
huh?
Let me know when you're doing that because
March 3rd.
I don't think that's always the case.
Yeah, it's not always the case. March 3rd. We put our little you'll see this on our page.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's yeah. So we want to try to put our itinerary out ahead of time. And then March 10th is all about mental health.
I'm
So
gonna have to tune into that one.
yeah, all about mental health. And then on the 17th of March, um, even though it's St. Patty's Day, which, my mom was Irish, um, we want to bring in some artists. And we don't have any, well, we have one. We have one artist. He's an entertainer, and he's in Florida. He's in Florida. I forgot where in Florida. Don't, yeah, somewhere in Florida. And he's got some really really awesome indie music we would love to showcase. And so we're looking for some people, anyone that we bring on, whether it's music, poetry, spoken word, whatever, has to be clean, no cussing. We don't call our mothers bees. We're not going to let you do it either. So if you want to come on our show 17th of March, send us an email or showcase your spoken word or knowledge or essays. Hey, Lulu, wake up.
All right.
So that's about as far as we got. We appreciate y'all so much for coming. Thank you, ladies, again. Lulu, Brooke, uh, National Plus. I don't know if brother is still able to listen. Thank you, all of y'all, for connecting. And this about ends our show for this week, y'all.
All right. Well, I'm glad I was able to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all
Thank
for
you for
y'all.
having us.
And I'll see y'all soon.
All right. Take care.
Okay, you too.